Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
And today we'll be beginning our coverage of Golden Sun: The Lost Age, playing until just before we reach Osenia, including saving Tavi and acquiring Lash from the Kandorian Temple, which apparently are not yet required. But before we get to all of that, how is everyone's week?
So at my job, I have to pick up lots of large boxes and a box that's a bunch of reams of paper, that kind of thing. Lots of big boxes. Pick them up off the ground and move them. I hurt my back, but the weird thing is, I hurt my back while picking up a very small box that was at eye level.
Also, those ones can be weirdly tricky too, because if you're especially used to picking ones off the ground, you're not as used to like the kinds of back muscles you need to be careful about when doing something that's that high up.
But it wasn't even heavy. I just picked it up, and then my back was like, okay, now it's happening. So, yeah, it's not bad enough that I can't work, but it's bad enough that I don't want to live. So I'm just dealing with that right now. Makes it a little hard to continue playing Shenmue 2 because I can't sit in my chair that I play video games in very long like this.
Yeah,
Dang it.
That's really awful, and I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm on vacation now. Today's the first day of a 7-day vacation I'm having from work. 4/7 of that is just because we have today and tomorrow off for New Year's Day, and the not wanting to work a Friday between weekend, I guess. And then, of course, I have the weekend off, and then I took 3 vacation days. This is the most time off from work I've had since I started this job, which I'm excited about. I love this job, but I'm excited to spend time today. One of my partners, my partner from New Jersey, I've spoken to many times on this podcast. She came over. We checked out the hotel, and it was cool. I wrote a lot today. I played the entire Golden Sun segment we're doing. I was like, yeah, I've got this. And then I'd forgotten she had mentioned, she had a thing to do. She has a D&D game she's going to be doing between 6:30 and 10:30. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'll either record before that or we'll try to figure something out. And then I was just like, actually, it would just work better to go back to the house and record here because I forgot to bring my mic to the hotel. And then I got here. She dropped me back off here, and I now miss her as she's at the hotel. And I forgot my headset. So I'm really glad this is working. I'm using my wonderful Emma. I'm using her headset to record as she sleeps. I'm really glad she's not at her computer right now, so I have the ability to take this from her. But yeah, so I'm really glad I'm able to record right now.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, things are going pretty good in Trishland, I gotta say. I'm sure it will fall apart not far from now, but right now, as of this moment, things are good.
I thought when you were saying surely won't fall apart, you were segueing to asking me about my week.
What about your week? I doubt anything bad's happened or anything's fallen apart.
Yeah, so because I don't have a social life, and my idea of a good time is usually doing something with the podcast or watching a movie to bring in the new year. But Summer and Andy have a whole bunch of friends. I was like, I'll pick up the kids a day early this week, so y'all can go out and have a party, and I will just stay home with the kids and do something fun. And that was all well and good until some viral infection has just destroyed Summer's entire side of the family, including my two kids. So I still picked them up yesterday just because, with custody stuff, we just have to keep to the plan or whatever. And so I picked them up to take them home and baby them. And they indeed were babies and needed a whole bunch of attention yesterday, including Scarlett, who is just like me and is a total whiny boots when they don't feel good. And so she was laying on the floor because of course she was, and she was like, I'm starting to get uncomfortable here. Can you help me set up the couch to lay on the couch and I can watch movies with Storm? And I'm like, awesome. So I get her on the couch and I bring her a blanket. She goes, I'm still cold with this one blanket. Can you bring me my second blanket? And so I bring her a second blanket, and then she's like, I really wish that I could cuddle with you, but I'm sick, so I can't. And I was like, oh, do you want one of my stuffed wolves? And then I can put my hoodie on it so that it'll smell like me and it'll be something of mine. And you can hold it and get some cuddles that way. She goes, yeah, that'll be awesome. And then she's like, I still like. The part of me that has to be out of my blanket is still really cold. Can I have like a hand warmer? Well, I couldn't find the hand warmers that I normally use for stuff like this, so I just got Storm has a Triceratops that is of the Warmies brand, where you can microwave it and it stays warm. And so I got that one all set up for her, and I got it to her. And then she was like, oh, and my neck also kind of hurts. Can you bring me my neck pillow? So I brought her her neck pillow, got her all set up, and she vomited over every single one of those items and my couch, and it was a giant fucking mess. And good fucking riddance to 2025. I spent most of my night last night because so a kid vomiting all over your stuff is already yucky, but I don't have a reliable laundry thing in my house. So if you leave vomit on things for like more than 2 seconds, it's stained forever and you should just throw it away. So I washed all the clothes in the sink in the kitchen and it was not a great time yesterday. And so the kids start like cooling off. Storm keeps he was wanting to watch the Dogman movie just on repeat. Every time it was over, he's like, Dad, it's over. Can you start it over again? And he would fall asleep, not be watching the whole thing, and then he would wake up because he hears the credits and ask me to start it over. And he did that all night long. And then Scarlett kept just like, she would wake up and be miserable and be whining and calling me in there to just tell me that it sucks. And then I offer medicine and she of course says no. And I'm like, well, that's the only thing that will help you. So whatever. And it was like, she needed help every 45 minutes and Storm needed help like every hour. So I just didn't sleep, basically. I think I finally started getting some consistent sleep after the sun rose at 6 something, and I got like 2 hours or so of sleep. Sick kids suck. I mean, the kids are fine, but them being sick sucks.
Yeah. I'm really glad I didn't complain about the sleep issues I've been having, because that's a fucking nightmare that you're having.
Yeah, it was horrid. But on the plus side, in my Doctor Who preservation Discord, there's a user by the name of Walk the Ages who was like just looking around on the Internet Archive and found that somebody had recorded the Doctor Who movie from 1996 off of the TV. And there's a thing that happened with the Doctor Who movie where we played it one time in America and no one here liked it. Then they played it over and over again in PAL territories where they use a different frame rate. So as part of the conversion, everything is 4% faster than it should be. And because of that, like Paul McGann's voice is very high pitched than it normally is. There's a lot of just like uncanny looking action going on. And it's all because they had a crappy 3.2 pull down. So they found the original recording. They downloaded it, cut out all the commercials and the fade to blacks and all of that stuff to recreate a version of the movie that is actually as intended. And so I watched it last night at approximately 10:40 to line it up so that when they say Happy New Year, it's 12 o'clock exactly.
That's delightful.
That was my one piece of this is for me that I was able to claw from yesterday's dead hands. But yeah, other than that, things are going pretty good over here.
You know what was really good?
What?
Starting a new Golden Sun.
Yeah. Specifically the dungeons this time around.
Holy crap, the dungeons
is nothing good. but the dungeons are great. So let's
I
talk
mean,
about
I
those.
think everything about this game so far is a surprisingly big improvement on the original, considering they were conceived as one game, and this came out like less than a year later. I think it's wild. We'll talk about this more later, but I think it's wild that it has improved as much as it has.
Okay, so after typing in and realizing you've made a typo 3 or 4 times, a entire 256 character long password, we are treated to a recap
not
of the
need to
previous
do
game.
the whole password. You
It's
really
funny,
don't.
though.
I
Especially-
did the 64 character, I think, password.
Yeah,
And I'm fine.
You also don't need to do it at all because they just give you whatever level you make Felix's party whenever it is appropriate towards the end of the game. I don't know how it happens. I just know the basics. They just give you a close enough. So if you don't care to have the exact number of potions that you had before, you can just not do it at all and it'll be fine. But that's not who I am as a person. So I typed in a 256 character long password 4 times before it finally worked. And it was cool.
I salute your decision. I think you're correct, actually.
Even better, when I wrote it down, I wrote it down by color coding what was a letter, what was a number, and what was a symbol in my gaming journal. So it was extra to write it down, and then I had to type it in this extra amount of times. So good for me, I guess.
One thing I enjoy is the text box where you select a character, and the text box that displays the characters you've entered are different fonts.
Mm-hmm.
That weirded me out the whole time.
Absolutely. Yeah, so after you do or do not enter your password, you get a recap of the previous game. It is like very detailed, which helps to offset the idea of it's being 2 games, and maybe your grandma hears you want Golden Sun and buys you Golden Sun: The Lost Age, and you just kind of have to play with it because that's what you got. It makes it not suck so bad. It summarizes all of the important parts, like Colosso, and then when it's all done, it leaves us with Jenna, just before the Venus lighthouse is lit. Felix opens the way out of the lighthouse for Jenna and Kraden before returning to the Eyrie to have the scene at the end of the previous game. But when he leaves, Jenna is uncertain that they should leave Felix behind because she has a bad feeling about this. Alex teleports in and picks on Jenna for having feelings. She says that this whole business of Isaac versus Felix is contrived and all we should do is talk to Isaac and maybe everyone would understand and come to an agreement. And why has no one thought of this before? And Alex is like, no, that won't work. He's our enemy. He wants to turn off the lighthouses. We want to turn them on. Talking is pointless, so we should just kill him. Alex and Kraden then both get like really horny for alchemy. And Alex says that once alchemy is restored to the land, ... Never mind. That'd be telling. I can't do that. So let's leave before I explain that I'm the villain or the lighthouse collapses. Outside of the tower, there are some Tolby soldiers waiting to capture them. So Alex volunteers to hold them off while Jenna and Kraden escape to Itajima, the rendezvous point. Since Jenna knows Synergy, she should be able to fend for herself. And long story short, she does.
Long story short, it's a long scene of Alex being like, oh, I'll use my water magic on them. Okay, you're approaching me. I'm gonna use my water magic on you.
Upon reaching Itajima, they find the ship that they arrived in with Saturos and Minardi, but the orb that makes it go is missing, so they can't make it go.
The thingy.
Yes, the thingy that makes it go is missing, so they can't make it go. Alex arrives, and he wonders why the lighthouse hasn't been lit yet, to remind the player that this is happening while the lighthouse hasn't been lit yet, and then they see the lighthouse being lit. The earthquakes start quaking the earth, and it fully detaches the Itajima Peninsula from the mainland and sends it careening through the ocean. Sometime later, Jenna and Kraden are talking about how worried about Felix and Isaac and the like they are, when Alex arrives, announcing he has found something interesting. That something interesting is Felix and Sheba, who must have washed ashore when they fell from the tower. They are they're still alive, thank goodness. And Sheba tells the party what went down at the end of the previous game. Felix doesn't say anything because he's suddenly come down with protagonist disease and he can no longer speak.
When I realized that was what was happening, I laughed so hard.
It's so good. Because, like, while you're controlling Jenna, she does not have protagonist disease. She can talk fine. They easily could have made it where Felix could still talk. But no, he has protagonist disease now. He doesn't get to speak.
It would be really funny if Felix still spoke, but then later on, when we eventually meet Isaac, he continues to not speak.
So they discuss their predicament because the Eastern Sea is a real big bitch and no one knows what lies on the other side of it. No one here knows. As we find out later, not only does the people of the Eastern continent know everything that's happening on the Western continent, they know the name. They're like, wow, there was a big light. It seemed it was over Gondolin. Like, our party's just stupid. They don't know any geography. And so they have no idea if they will ever make landfall, and if they do, where that would be or what kind of place it is. But they'll soon find out because land ho, but also tidal wave ho. The huge tidal wave knocks into the island, brushing aside Felix and the others, knocking them unconscious as Itajima collides with the new continent. Felix is the first to come to, seeing as how he has the most recent experience with being knocked unconscious and carried away by the ocean, so he has practice and can get up faster. He gathers everyone and checks on them. Jenna, Kraden, Sheba, and... Wait, where's Alex? He's not anywhere nearby, and neither is Satoros and Minardi's ship that was docked there. They needed that boat to cross the Great Western Sea, which is in the opposite direction of the Great Eastern Sea that they just traveled by floating island. And so the party has their first quest. They need to find Alex and find a boat so they can continue bringing about the alchemical apocalypse. Felix and Jenna say goodbye to Sheba, but Sheba says that she's joining them. It is her destiny to finish this quest. Jenna's like, what's all this destiny business? And she goes, and anyways, you need me to open the Jupiter Lighthouse because I'm a Jupiter adept. And Jenna's like, okay, but what's all this destiny business? Kraden says, who can say? And the scene ends. 1 second.
So while we're waiting for Sam, because
Yes.
Sam had to step away, I'll say, I believe I had mentioned a while ago Alex being on the cover of Golden Sun: The Lost Age. He is not.
I thought that I was thinking you might have been thinking of our fourth party member who we briefly meet. I think this.
But if you look at Alex's character art and you look at the box art for Golden Sun: The Lost Age, I think I can be forgiven.
Oh no, they look very similar.
Yeah, I bring that up in a second.
Most of Pierce's character design is obscured, and they have sort of the same hair.
So the party makes their way down to the town of Dela, a small town that was recently hit by the tidal wave. And there are still tons of water standing around, but miraculously no one was hurt. But where are those punnily named rascals, Ricky and Tavi? We haven't seen them in a bit. I hope they didn't go to the Shrine of the Sea God and get trapped there after the tidal wave hit. There isn't any cutscene in this town, but talking around has people worried about Ricky and Tavi. And the Great Healer says to visit Master Poi in the Kandorian Temple. And quite a few people say that this town's boats were destroyed in the tidal wave, but Madra should have boats. You just have to get it to the other side of the shitty road with all of the potholes to get there. And apparently there are no roadblocks to get to Madra. You can just go right there and wonder why I assigned such a small section this week.
Yeah. We'll talk about that more later.
Yeah, because I definitely you'd said earlier to the people at home who don't know, Bernard told us ahead of time that you don't need to do the temple stuff. I forgot because the game so clearly shoves it in your face that I assumed it was required.
So if you instead follow up on Ricky and Tavi, you arrive at the Shrine of the Sea God, where sure enough, Tavi was washed by the tidal wave to the other side of a ravine, and then the tidal wave took the bridge away, so now Tavi is stranded on the other side. His friend Ricky tries to throw a rope across the ravine, but he's not strong enough to make it all the way across. Our party vows to help, but we can't find any way across, so we have no choice but to leave for now. If you return to Dela, the party does not ask anyone for help or say anything about the two stranded children who are stuck, but they find out the info about the Kandorian Temple and decide to head there. The guards outside do not let anyone in, but there's a cave to the side that has some bushes in front of it that Sheba, the Jupiter adept, who has wind powers, which are diametrically opposed to a Venus adept like Felix, who has earth powers, uses whirlwind, a wind power, to remove the vines, to which Kraden responds, "Good job, Felix." Fucking patriarchy.
I would say Jenna, with her fire magic. Probably also
Yes.
had a good chance of doing this if she'd wanted to.
But no, Felix, who is canonically impossible for him to have done this, gets rewarded. So this cave allows them past the wall and they can get into the temple. Inside, Master Poi is holding some sort of trial for his pupils to improve their mastery of Synergy, and in the cutscene, this manifests as hovering above the ground. I think that surely the Synergy we're going to get is a hover Synergy, so we can cross the ravine, save Tavi, and also to make it across all of the potholes on the road to Madra. So we piggyback through the temple door and complete the trial ourselves without Master Poi's knowledge or approval, and it's one of the best Golden Sun dungeons so far.
It has so good.
It has so much visual obfuscation where you come into a room and you're like, crap, it's a dead end. But then you're like, wait, no, this pillar is actually 2 tiles lower than the other one. I can squeeze in between them, and I didn't realize it. And they play with that a bunch, and then the dungeon itself like loops back on itself in a very cool way. It's really good. I really dig it. At the far end of the dungeon, we arrive in Master Poi's chamber, and he is surprised to see us, but obviously we are worthy of his teaching since we completed his trial. So he gives us the Synergy secret of his temple, the ability to pick up ropes and tie them to things.
Such a masterful art.
Hover would have been way too broadly useful.
It's not levitation like everyone else was doing, and I did not see this coming at all. But now that we have learned how to tie a square knot, we head back to the shrine of the sea god and we rescue Tavi. He and Ricky tell us that they were chasing after that critter they saw when the tidal wave hit, so we don't follow them back to town at first. We instead do the rest of the dungeon to capture a djinn, and this dungeon is also a lot of fun.
I think I might have slightly preferred this one just because the element of slow, like having to figure out what to do, both based on what the dragon does, but also it does a lot of things the djinn does, but things that you can't do. Like, it'll do something the easy way, and in the process make it impossible for you to do what it just did. So you have to find out a new way around, and it's just kind of really fun.
Yeah, and they play with that again at the Madra dungeon that I skip over later with a fire djinn, and those two were just a very cool way to do it. I also, just as an aside, this isn't in my notes, but at the beginning of the first game, when you run into the tutorial djinn, and he's like, yeah, there were 28 of us that escaped. And then you talk to the tutorial djinn this time, and he's like, yeah, we escaped when Mount Aleph exploded. So apparently last game, they were just saying 28 of us over here. There were 56 of us total.
I don't think we mentioned in our memorable moments or anything last time that the tutorial djinn, and this is repeated in this game, is really funny and very insistent on going with you, but you can just say no, and it keeps on making up reasons why you should take it. And if you say no enough times, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going with you anyway. And then it joins your party.
That's I did not do that, but that's very funny.
There's a lot of dialogue for saying no to the djinn when it asks to go with you. It like talks about how your party members will unlock secret abilities and stuff, and it's really good.
God, I've got so much from my mom. There's so much fun little things.
But eventually, the party returns to Dela to check on the boys, and they run into Alex. The party asks him where he was, and he says that he was looking for a ship, but there aren't any here, so he must go to Madra to find one. We're like, all right, let's go. And Alex is like, what? No. I'm not going to be your Mercury adept. I'm foreshadowing to being the villain of this game instead, and he leaves without us. The party is like, dang, that guy really grinds my gears. Let's go our own way, I guess, which is not at all how I would have responded after being taken to a continent that we weren't even sure was really out here, and the guy who brought us here on his quest for world domination probably just leaves us stranded because he wants to, quote, work alone. But whatever. The characters in Golden Sun don't ever have follow-up questions. They let dramatic reveals happen when they need to. We head to the road to Madra, which has a fairly trivial puzzle towards the beginning that I'm just super stupid about. So in Golden Sun, you can jump over a one-tile gap, and you have to use that power several times to get through the first few screens before you reach the third puzzle. But when I get there, there are some tiles that you only can step on one time or you'll fall through, and there is a one-tile wide hole at the end, and I'm like, oh, well, I obviously need a levitate synergy because I don't have one. So I'm going to go and find it because I came here first, and then I went did everything else thinking I was going to be getting a levitate. And then when the dude started levitating, I'm like, aha, obviously I'm going to get levitate. And No, they would just go like, good job, you did it. Jump over this one gap and keep going through the dungeon. And I thought it was a hard wall because I'm stupid.
It really annoys me how we have these puzzles in this dungeon based around if you step on this tile, you'll fall through. But I could jump over that tile. If that tile were a hole, I could jump over it.
Mm-hmm.
But until it does, you can't.
No. So eventually we make it to the other side and we find Saturos and Minardi's ship. It must have drifted here after the tidal wave, but we still don't have a thingy that makes it go. So we leave and continue on to Madra. There we're stopped by the guards and they do a vibe check on us to see if we're a Champa, which is a group of pirates who recently attacked their town. The townspeople manage to capture one of them and they have him in the prison in town. But when we go into that prison, we see that the Champa they have is dressed in fancy ancient civilization robes, and he looks enough like Alex to make us realize that that's not Alex on the cover of the game, so we know he's innocent. He tells his interrogators that he's from an island in the Eastern Sea, but if he explains any more, they won't believe him. One of the interrogators' girlfriends was hurt in the pirate attack, so he's really laying it into the prisoner and not letting up. So the prisoner uses Frost Synergy and launches the guy up into the air, which makes him freak out and runs away. We recognize Synergy when we see it, so we approach him, and he says that he's waiting for the elder of the village to return and straighten this all out and free him. If you read his mind, he's like, wait, someone's using Synergy. And then he looks at the party and he's like, nah, they aren't part of my people, so it can't be them. And otherwise he won't talk to us. So we head out of the prison where the elder's daughter approaches and asks us if Piers has escaped. Prisoner's name is Pierce. Because if he has, then the elder will be unable to protect him any longer. She then, apropos of nothing, sees the group, says that Felix has kind eyes, asks us if we need to go to Osenia, which is the first time we've heard the phrase this game, so of course we say yes, and she grants us permission to cross through the checkpoint and continue to the next leg of the game.
If you say no, she just says, no need to be shy, and then gives you permission to go.
So,
whoa. That's the thing you need to do to continue this game. We're going to make sure you do it.
Yeah, we'll see what lies across the pass towards Osenia next week. But for now, Mem Moms.
When I was playing, I got to Dyla. I got to the kids in the cave, and I was like, "Oh, damn! I guess I need a rope tying synergy." I guess I'll probably get that at that temple that was mentioned. And then I didn't find the temple. I found the dungeon after that, and so I just went through, and I was like, "Damn! I'm having to do a lot of shit before I." Find this temple and get this synergy, and I get to Madra and I get permission to go over to Osenia, and I was like, is that it? And then Sam starts talking about saving the kids and talking to Alex and stuff, and I'm like, what? And I look at a long play and it turns out you can talk to Alex and Dyla after saving the kids, and I'm like, wait. So I go back, I go to the temple, I do the temple. So I do the first dungeon second, actually, because I'd already done the second dungeon. Both of them are really great, though. So I did that. I went back. I saved the kids. I go back to Dyla, and Alex isn't there. I go to the mayor's house where you meet Alex, and that scene doesn't play. I go into the house, and I talk to them, and there are a few people who are like, why'd that weird guy need a boat so bad anyway? And I'm like, what?
So you accidentally sequence broke, and in the process, missed out on this scene completely.
Yes.
From what I did see, apparently a lot of people miss out on the scene anyway, because you don't have to go back to the mayor's house. There's nothing pointing you, necessarily, to go do that. Like, it's easy to just continue on with the game and not give a shit.
Yeah, I only found it because I went back to town to rest at the inn, and then reset my spawn point. Though I think you only have one at this point, anyways, but it's just habit. I go into a town, I talk to the priest, and so when I went back, I saw that the water had receded, which is a really cool thing. When you get there, everything is wet because the tidal wave just came through, but now the water has receded. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Can I access anywhere special? And I happened to walk in front of the mayor's house, and that's where I found Alex. So I absolutely just stumbled upon it.
One of my memoms is in Dyla, though. When the kids get back, they go to their houses and they're very hungry, and their parents comment on it. And one of the parents is like, "Came back so hungry. It's like he thinks we're here to feed him." And I'm like, "You're his parents. You kind of are there to feed him."
That's one of the few jobs you have, actually.
That's like the main thing you're supposed to do as a parent.
Speaking of hungry, when it fades to black and then fades back in when everyone's riding the island to the new place, Jenna is like, "Oh, Kraden, how long will this island continue to drift?" And Kraden's like, "I don't know. I wish you could tell me."
I love that line.
She's like, "Sheesh, you're no help in times like this." And Kraden's like, "Hey, I'm hungry." She's like, "How can you even think about food? I wonder what happened to my brother." And he says, "I can't be certain, but it looks like they lit the Venus beacon." And she goes, "Yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me that. That's how we wound up adrift at sea." And Kraden's just like, "Well, aren't you cranky today?" And I'm like, "No, that was very stupid. Kraden, you were the worst."
Because of that entire sequence, I was... It truly surprising no one on this call, and I'm sure no one listening at home, if you've been listening to this podcast for long, I was really annoyed when Felix became the main character again, because I was really liking Jenna being the main character, because she's great.
But if Jenna had become the main character, she wouldn't be able to speak, and then we wouldn't have her fun personality.
She gets to be the Garrett, the not main character, but gets to be the whole voice of the party, which... is an appropriate trade-off, I believe.
She's a much better Garrett than Garrett was. Also fun. Did either of you find in one of the dungeons, I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it's the first one, the one connected to the temple, rather. There's a hidden thing you can get that's like a card that changes your class and changes you to a jester class.
Yeah.
That thing rules. I gave that to Jenna. And great choice. She's so good as that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if that's because it's weird the way that the class, like what class your characters become, both because of stuff like that, but also because of the
Djinns.
The djinns and stuff. It changes their overworld abilities. So I don't know if this is because she was a jester or because it's just a thing she gets normally. But she got a fucking synergy thing for making it so it reduces the random encounter rate. And I was like, "Jenna, I love you. I want to kiss you on the mouth."
Yeah, that's part of the card.
It's part of the card?
That's part of the card. It rules.
It's so good. It's so good. Also, cool thing is did either of you find the summon tablet thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of graphics happen when you find it.
Yeah, a lot of graphics. Yeah. And now you can use 2 different elemental things at the same time.
Yeah, we're getting our first multicolored magic cards this game, which is something I was surprised wasn't in the first one, with how much it's like in the UI of how many of each one do you have, and it never came up, but now it does. And it reminds me a lot of how magic and stuff works in Trails, where you have to make sure you have so much of this element and so much of that element that combine to do a special thing. I guarantee it's not going to be as involved as Trails is, because almost nothing in JRPGs is as involved as the orbit system in Trails.
Man, I love the orbit system in Trails.
Oh, it's so good. So, one funny thing at the very beginning of the game. So, Jin and Kraden are escaping, and they run into 2 of the guards, and they're like, "Stop it. You 2 aren't going anywhere except with us, back to Master Iadem." And then you fight him in battle. And then he says, "All right, so maybe you are going somewhere after all."
God, there's a lot of really fun. I remember the exact dialogue. There's a person you can like read the mind of in, I think, the second town we went to, Mardu, I think. I can't remember. Madra. And I'm trying to remember the exact dialogue. It was really... It tickled my funny bone really hard. But more to the point, like, I was going to get to was just that I really appreciate over the course of the first game, there was this, like, because, at the start of the game, Jenna and Shitty Gandalf get kidnapped. and it's very much there against their will. And then it takes a while for it to be like, oh wait, something has changed, and they're no longer doing this because they have to.
Mm-hmm.
They have kind of switched sides, and now getting to play as them and seeing from their perspective as they're like, no, don't Isaac and their friends know that we're the ones who are doing the right thing here? Don't they get that we're the good guys? And I'm like, I think you're definitely right. Like, Alex is definitely fucking with it. Alex is definitely evil, and yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a part that's also like, but wouldn't it be really fun if they were actually, like, that lighting the lighthouses was actually the good thing to do? Like, in our entire, like, maybe we should have listened to the giant eye monster from the second one, or from the first game.
Yeah, I don't know where I stand on if it will be that Felix was right, because the watchful one or whatever
wise one, I believe,
wise one said something as it was going away that, like, Felix, he must ... or something, and so maybe we should be lighting it, and there's something up with Isaac's side, or if Alex is tricking everybody and we're going to turn them all off at the last second. Who knows? I don't know how it's going to end. And that's exciting, because I did not think this game had it in it throughout the entire first game to have ambiguous villains like this.
Also, I found the funny thing. I was trying. I opened up the game again to poke at it. In the inn, because the whole thing with this town is that they've had pirates attack them and whatever. And there's a couple of merchants there, and if you read their minds, one of them is thinks to himself, "We were fine because our karma is good. Only people with bad karma get hurt, I'll bet." Which is the most... Yeah, I guess that is a really fucked up thing to think, my dude. What? And then you read the mind of his buddy, and he goes, "I was hiding under my bed the whole time, but I'm not going to tell him that." I love this game so much.
I really like there's a lot of cinematic flourishes in this game that make it feel cooler and more dramatic than the opening of the first game, I think. The opening of the first game is sort of objectively more dramatic. We have the huge storm, we have Felix being swept away and everything. But this game we have, like, a cooler title screen and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, the I don't know if I love... or think is absolutely fucking ridiculous, or both. The tidal wave pushed a continent until it hit another continent. It's so dumb. That's not how anything works.
It's magic.
Yeah, when we finished the last game, I thought it was like, oh, Itajima, because they're calling it by its name, and they haven't called, like, any country by its name. They've only referred to cities before. So Itajima might be like, oh, this is a magical island that they had parked here, and it's not part of it. But then you get here, and they're all just like, oh no, it's an earthquake, and the tidal wave pushed us across the ocean.
Also, in that section when they're all, like, washing up and talking to each other on that island screen, it's weird because I'd forgotten, it'd been a bit because we were playing Shenmue, I'd forgotten what the exact overworld looked like. So I was looking at this as, like, a normal overworld screen, and I was being like, it's really funny that we're having a scene where everyone's interacting like this, they're walking around this island, but, like, I feel like this island is miles across. Like, this is...
Yeah.
But they're standing near the center and looking out at the water and going, oh, looks like something's coming. It's so silly. I love it.
Also, there's a point where, on one of the scenes on the peninsula / island, depending on the time of day, they're like, oh, hey, we gotta find the ship, but they're standing right next to the ship, and then Kraden walks, like, a couple pixels and is like, oh, there's the ship. And it's like, I get how this is being abstracted out, but it still feels silly.
That's so funny. Speaking of the graphics being good, I love Felix's stupid little shimming across the rope animation.
Agreed.
It is actively bad, but it is very good at the same time.
Also, after the tidal wave hits, Felix wakes up and it gives you the option to check yourself for injuries, and there's just these cute little animations of Felix, like, shaking his arms, and it's like oh, your arms are attached. That's a good start. And then he shakes his legs, and it's like, yeah, you got legs too. Good job.
Yeah, I had mentioned at the on the last episode of the first game that there were some bespoke animations that I'm like, why would you waste the cartridge space on that? And it's Felix's cute little check my arms, check my legs situation. It's like probably because I'm looking at the sprite sheet because I pulled it up to look at the crawling one. It looks like it's probably a 16th of all of his animation frames are him checking himself out in this scene. It's stupid. It's great. I love it. No notes.
I really enjoy the dungeon I did first, which is the plateau dungeon where you're chasing the fire gen through the whole thing. And eventually it uses the pound synergy. I almost called it a materia, but it's not a materia. Almost, it uses the pound synergy, and then eventually you beat it and you get that synergy, and you can go back and go through and get stuff you missed before. And also, if you, for some reason, need to go back through that dungeon several times, having the pound synergy lets you open up secret paths that make you shortcuts that you can get through. So last game, I felt compelled to use a guide to make sure I got all the gens because, you know, I am going to be transferring my data to the second game. I've got to make sure I do it right and everything. And this game, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to make it a better experience.
And I didn't transfer my save data at all. I'm just going in with a clean slate, baby.
All right. You'll have to tell us what the default levels and stuff are when you get back to Isaac and shit.
I will.
One thing that's big and important about this game is Felix has the blue cape, which all of the Camelot main characters have the blue cape, and so he gets to be the real main character. And Isaac didn't have a blue cape, so he's fake. But it's a classic Camelot thing. When I first got into battle, and in comes my guy with a sword and a blue cape. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Now we're cooking with gas. I'm excited to play more Golden Sun. It's been about 3 weeks longer than we intended it to be. So here we are. So that will do it for the week. If you like what you heard here today, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where any and all donations help us offset the costs of running the show. If you decide to donate $1 more a month, you'll become one of our gadabouts, and you'll get access to our bonus feed filled with after shows for every episode, as well as bonus seasons of the show, such as Tales of Podcastia, The Escape Pod, and the JRPG Canon. If you up your donation to $5 or more each month, you can become one of our warriors and get your name read at the end of every episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Dragon Slayer 19, Freddy Rodriguez, and JFro Prime. And then if you really, really love us and you want to be one of our luminaries, you can donate $20 or more a month and get a short one-sentence shoutout or advert read at the end of each episode, a little like this. Shoutouts to Kildranus, who says to check out Podcasters Assemble. It is a documentary-style, crowdsourced movie, hype, and rewatch podcast. Every season, podcasters from around the world are assembled to review, reminisce, and riff on a popular franchise. Shoutouts to Vimke, who says, to her enormous surprise, he wheeled around and stumped back to the dark and slippery tier. And then shoutouts to It's Claire Time, who says, for you TTRPG nerds, check out Fabula Ultima. I'm not affiliated with the game, I just think it's neat. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I am Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye-bye.